BMX biking and going back to the 80s. It's a bit of a long trip for me. I gotta plan ahead. Hey, hi pals, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under, Season 3, Episode 5, or what I'm going to officially call Episode What the Hell Was That? But before we try to make sense of the madness, I need to thank this week's tipper-doos, Jessica Witcher and Patrick Hartman. Thank you, dolls. I couldn't do this without you, seriously. I'd also like to welcome back to the Fingerdoo family on Patreon, Queen Bobby. We missed you, doll. Seriously. If you'd like to help support the Fingerdoo review by leaving a tipper-doo, joining the Fingerdoo family on Patreon, or even getting yourself some Wilma merch from my Redbubble store, all those links are down below in my description box. Sounds dirty. Now, Jorge, drink me. Oh. Cranberry ginger. Oh, it's that time of the year again. Children of the corn, cranberry, ginger ale. Oh, is it diet? Oh, thank God. What else is in it? Okay. I know vodka never hurt anybody. Festive, refreshing, delicious, and ASMR. ASR? I'm too old. I don't know. What do you mean you know? Shut up. So, as sad as the queens were to say goodbye to Rita, Floor wasted no time cleaning her lipstick message off the mirror. As far as she was concerned, being that close to sashaying was just the kick her padded butt needed to get into the game. But it's episode 5. What has she been doing all this time? Speaking of late bloomers, Ashley Madison was congratulated for not only her first win of the season, but for winning Snatch Game. Bumpa went out of her way to say that she thought Isis had won the Snatch Game, but that was probably down to her being, well, crusty over being in the bottom. At least that's what Nip said at any rate. Just saying. The next day in the workroom, as the queens reflected on Rita's ousting, they of course started to ponder who would be next. Well, some pondered. Isis out and out asked Floor if she was next. Of course, Floor was incensed. For some reason, Gabriella Labucci stuck her panini into the mix by pointing out Floor and Bumpa were the only queens who hadn't won a challenge yet. Floor's comeback? She called Gabby lucky because everyone knew she had the worst Snatch Game. Gabriella didn't care. She was more concerned over the fact that she was starting to lose her voice. Probably from arguing with Floor. Ooh. Thankfully, Ru showed up wearing, of all things, the Versace original of whatever knockoff shirt Nips was wearing. That's why Miss Charles said their shirts were similar. Hey, whatever helps her sleep at night in that gorgeous mansion of hers. Maybe that was Ru's way of easing the queens into this week's mini challenge. Yes, dolls, the library was open because reading is what? Fundamental. Yes, it is. And the best part of this challenge was pit crew member and winner of the Fuzziest Everything Award, Ben. Seriously, a porn stash and a mullet? I have to say I was looking forward to this mini challenge because the queens have been reading each other since day one, but them was I let down. Gabriella Labucci was up first. She inferred that Isis was a chronic farter and told Bumpa she loved the way she tried. I think Bumpa would have been way more insulted if that joke had been better. Oh! Isis used notes. I'm not kidding. She actually used notes, and it still didn't help. Ru couldn't believe she had to write jokes that bad down. What they showed us of Bumpa's read was this long, drawn-out tale of woe about Nips and a dildo. I'm not really sure how it turned out. I kind of lost interest somewhere in the middle. I know. Me losing interest in a dildo story? Floor mistook Isis for Anita Wiglet because of how ugly her nose was. That's it. Ugly nose. In other news, no one mistook Floor for anyone. Nips Madison called Hollywood star a dog. Well, Lassie, to be precise. And Hollywood, well, she just failed. But she did do it in 2 languages. All in all, this has to be one of the worst reading challenges in the history of RuPaul's Drag Race anywhere. And Ru thought so too. So much so that she declared the winner of the mini challenge Ben. I'm so thrilled that Ru even gave Ben the prize of $2,500 worth of glitter. Can you imagine Ben all covered in glitter? He'd be like a hairy disco ball. And yes, Harry Disco Ball was my drag king name in high school. And then it was time for the Maxi Challenge. Girl groups, and not just any girl groups. These girl groups are going to be on bicycles while performing the song BMX Bitches. Ru said this challenge was inspired by the classic 80s film BMX Bandits. Now, if you've never heard of this movie, don't feel bad. It was an Australian film that was released in 1983. I was 17. It was popular in Britain and Australia and starred, of all people, Nicole Kidman. Actually, BMX Bandits launched her career, even though a boy in a wig did all her bike stunts. Hey, Nicole's only human. She can't do everything. Did you see her, Lucy? Why didn't they just go with Deborah Messing? Seriously. All that was left was to split the queens into two teams. Because Ru had declared Ben the winner, the job fell on his fuzzy shoulders. For the most part, the queens seemed happy with how Ben split them up. Hollywood, Isis, and Gabriella were on one team, and Floor, Bumpa, and Nips were on the other. Okay, Ashley wasn't thrilled. In fact, she hated the whole idea. She felt Bumpa was starting to circle the drain and didn't want her and her bumperisms pulling her down. After all, she did just win a challenge! Over on Team Holissi Gab, Gabriella Labucci's voice was obviously not going to get any better anytime soon, so she was planning on creating a huge character to hide behind. Meanwhile, over on Team Nips Bumflow, Bumpa was starting to worry. She didn't do so well in the Mardi Gras challenge, so this was her chance at redemption. But being the oldest queen in the room meant she was actually around in the 80s. She may have been 10, but if anyone in that room was going to know how to channel the 80s, it should have been Bumpa. Should being the operative word. Determined not to be in the bottom again, Floor was also feeling like she had something to prove, while Nips Madison, on the other hand, was obviously feeling like she was set up for failure. Being the only challenge winner on her team was hard for Nips to take when everyone on Team Holissi Gab was a challenge winner. In fact, from this point on, Nips did nothing but mention that she just won a challenge. It was so sad. Clearly, Nips was already expecting the other team to win this challenge, and, well, to be fair, so did Team Holissi Gab, and rightly so. Not only did they all do well in the Mardi Gras challenge, they've been doing pretty well in all the challenges so far. But, not for luck, these queens deliver. Point in fact, within minutes, they seemed to have all their lyrics written and were ready to hit the studio, while Team Nips Bumflow seemed to be lost in the 80s. And I'm not talking in a girls just want to have fun kind of way. And then, ready or not, it was time to record their verses with Michelle Visage. I love how they put her name up on the screen like we're all new and don't know who she is, seriously. Anyway, Team Nips Bumflow, aka FAB International, were the first into the studio, which of course was just a microphone and mixing board on the runway. I love how the name FAB International incorporated all of the team's names. Of course, I like mine better. Ashley took to the mic first, and I'm just going to say it. This queen set herself up to fail. She was so preoccupied with her last win that it was, well, keeping her from doing well enough to get a second one, or even close to it, if you ask me. She sucked so hard my ears popped. She sucked so hard Michelle Visage was speechless. Hell, even Fleur couldn't tell if she was having fun with it or not. Seriously. How do you not know if someone's having a good time? I think that face helps. In fact, Michelle had such a hard time getting any personality out of Nips that, well, the recording time actually ran out. I just hope that their auto-tune AI can help. What am I talking? I mean, if it can help Ru. Floor was up next and really only had to tweak her finessing here and there. Hell, I give mine a big old pinch. I don't think Bumpa Love did too badly. She just seemed to pile too many words into her lyrics. And, well, she was losing her diction. You heard me. One thing she wasn't losing was her voice. In fact, Michelle had to tell her that she was actually yelling her lyrics instead of singing them. Was she? And can I just ask, are they using the season 1 filter on Michelle now too? Look at her. She practically doesn't have a nose. It's washed right out. Has it been like that the whole season? Am I just noticing that? Team Holissi Gab, a.k.a. Team S&X, a.k.a. Team Sexy and Stupid, were up next, and Gabriella Sans voice was the first to the mic. Michelle was impressed with Gabby's ability to work on the fly where her voice was concerned, by creating a character to compensate for it. Hollywood was next and absolutely killed, which left Isis Avis Loren, who was going to sing, or that was her plan, but Michelle wasn't feeling it, which of course worried Icy. Later in the workroom, it was all hands on deck as the two queens who had the worst recording sessions battled it out for the biggest breakdown. Of course, they both weren't just upset, they were embarrassed for not doing well in front of Michelle. She's a judge. She's going to go into this week's runway with preformed opinions. And yes, preformed opinions was the name of my fringe play. But Nips took the drama to the next level by having an existential crisis on top of everything else. Nips had come to the realization that she'd been hiding behind the fierceness of her drag persona for so long that when it came crashing down during recording, she felt she didn't know who she was. I get it. It's a common thing for new queens and queens who don't perform live. You really need those experiences on stage to help develop a persona, which ultimately makes you a fabulous drag queen. Or so I've heard. Meanwhile, Isis did so badly during her recording that, well, she didn't even see the point of continuing. She was convinced that she had failed before the challenge was even over. Come on, Isis, get icy, seriously. Well, if any of the other queens were feeling confident after all that, meeting Corey the choreographer and his 3 BMX bikes soon put an end to all that, I'll tell you what. At worst, most queens only have to deal with having 2 left feet. Now, they had to deal with 2 wheels. And things weren't rolling smoothly is all I'm saying. Fab International was up first. What do you want me to say? They were 3 drag queens doing choreography with bicycles. It didn't really go well for any of them, but Ashley Nips Madison's struggle seemed more real than the other queens. Even Corey the choreographer noticed. As for SNS, it was clear very quickly that Icy was not picking up the choreography as quickly as the rest of the team. I'm not sure if it's a carryover from her less than stellar recording session or she just sucks at choreo, but when you stack the 2 sessions together, this was quickly turning out to not be Isis's week. I'm so serious. And then it was Elimination Day. Of course, Icy and Nips were stressing over the Maxi Challenge performance. Icy Nips. They should go on tour. While Gabriella Labucci was sounding more and more like B. Arthur after a pack of smokes. But, stressed or not, the show must go on. And suddenly, we were on the main stage with Rue looking like a big old citrus swirl. Michelle was looking pretty in pink, but not near as pretty as Reese Nicholson did. And joining the judges this week, 80s supermodel and proud Australian Rachel Hunter. Up first, Fab International performing BMX Bitches. And can I just say, 3 seconds into this song, and I was already over it. There, I said it. I'm also going to say Fab International weren't as fab as they were hoping to be, I'm sure. Bumpa started them off okay. Well, she wasn't the worst. The worst was Nips Madison. From her entrance through her solo to that sad final pose, Nips did not look like she was having a good time. Never mind that she also seemed to be having trouble keeping up with the choreo. Clearly, the star of FAB International was Floor. She was on, she didn't miss a beat, and no matter what, she never stopped smiling. Here's the Floor, well done. SNS was next, and right away, I want to ask what the hell Isis was so nervous about before. She killed it. Her verse sounded good, she looked gorgeous, and her performance didn't stink. Was she trying to psych the other queens out? Gabriella Labucci's chain-smoking alcoholic was hilarious and was able to keep up with the other 2, which is really all that anyone asked her to do. But no one was speaking about the other 2 once Hollywood took the stage. First of all, well, she looked like a neon Barbie doll, and her performance dripped of confidence. Clearly, it was going to be an easy call as to which group won the challenge, but before we can get to that, we have a catwalk to get through. Category is Fuchsia. I don't even know her. I know a Fuchsia. She ain't all that. Gabriella Labucci was up first, serving up Barbarella meets Flash Gordon in a Fuchsia dimension. Dare I say Fuchsension? No? You liked her futuristic better? Well, you know what, Jorge? Fuck. Fingerdoo for Gabriella. Isis Avis Loren's runway was stunning. From the tips of her wig horns to the ends of her pointy nails, she was breathtaking. From the waist down, well, she was just pants. But they were very nice pants. Fingerdoo for Icy. And then Hollywood star stepped out in this. It was all over. Her sequin ode to the film Mahogany starring Diana Ross was stunning. There was no jokes, just facts. This is how you win a runway. Take notes, seriously. Fingerdoo for Hollywood. Bumpa's ode to I Dream of Jeannie wasn't as dreamy as I'm sure she was hoping it would be. To be honest, the only thing fuchsia about it were those scarves on her arms. Otherwise, well, she was pretty much purple. So, finger don't for Bumpa. Not that she didn't look nice. As badly as she sucked rocks during the Maxi challenge, this stunning number just about saved Ashley Madison, if you ask me. The problem is, no one did. Only one critique of this cotton candy cloud of couture is that it's pink, it's not fuchsia. Maybe the veil is more fuchsia adjacent, but that dress is Marilyn Monroe, diamonds are a girl's best friend pink, so I'm going to give Nips a pinky do. Floor closed the show with this delicious fuchsia alien queen. I just love this look, so of course she got a finger do. But I also want to say how impressed I've been with Floor's makeup all season. Here's the you, Floor. You beat that mug. And then it was time for the judges' critiques. This week, no one was safe, so Gabriella Labucci was up first. Michelle praised Gabby on her show must go on attitude and adjusting her vocal performance to work with, well, her laryngitis. Both she and Reese loved Gabby's makeup as well, although Reese was glad that she wasn't losing that camp element. Rue, on the other hand, wanted to see Gabriella leave that camp element at home. Rue wants to see her walk that runway as a sexy, fierce queen, just once. Clearly not being seen as fierce or sexy was a little bit of a shock to Senora Labucci. I saw it coming. Isis Avis Loren was up next. Michelle admitted she was nervous for Icy during the recording, that she was psyching herself out, but after, how good she was in the performance. Michelle hoped it was a lesson for Icy to trust herself more. Rue couldn't have cared less about Icy's performance. She just was more interested in who made her runway outfit. When Isis said that she did, Rue called her a bitch. Actually, she called her a... Clearly, it was a good night for Icy. Speaking of good nights, Hollywood was next, and well, there wasn't anything anyone could tell her about herself. All the judges loved her, and Rue couldn't compliment Hollywood enough on how fabulous her runway was. Mahogany's Rue's favorite film. Shh. Bumpa's critique wasn't the love-in I'm sure she was hoping it would be. Michelle was with me. She felt that the fuchsia on Bumpa's outfit was an afterthought, while Reese felt that her struggle was real during the performance. And while Rue agreed her outfit wasn't very fuchsia forward, she did like it enough to ask, who made it? It was Isis Avis Loren. That bitch. Nips Madison was next, and at least Michelle thought she looked adorable during the challenge because Reese felt her performance was anything but. He wanted to see some of the fire Ashley had during Snatch Game, and rightly so. While Rachel Hunter couldn't say enough about Nips on the Runway, and yes, Nips on the Runway is the name of my Fringe play. Floor was another one the judges just could not say enough about. Well, that's not true. Michelle hated the fit of her performance outfit, but Reese felt she more than made up for that with her runway look. And then it happened. Rue asked the dreaded question, which queen should go home tonight? Gasp. Gabriella Labucci said Floor because, well, she's lip-synced before and, well, she's still not won a challenge. Really? Floor? I'd pick Bumpa. Surprisingly, Isis also picked Floor for more or less the same reason, but she also included Nips in the mix. Hollywood seemed to be the only voice of reason up on that stage because she felt the two queens who should go home were Ashley and Bumpa. Wait now, who said two? Bumpa also picked Floor, which surprised me. I thought she was going to pick Nips. I would have. Ashley surprised me by picking Floor as well. I thought for sure she would have picked Bumpa, but it's okay, because that's who Floor picked. Back in the workroom, the queens were singing a whole new tune. Gabby and Nips admitted to regretting picking Floor over Bumpa. Gabby and Nips, they should go on tour. Of course, Floor said she didn't care, but you could tell she was still hurt. God bless Hollywood when Bumpa asked why she picked herself and Nips to go home. Hollywood just out and out said they got the worst critiques. That seemed to shut the debate down. I also love that Hollywood went on a little rant in her confessional about people underestimating Floor. Good for her, seriously. I love you, Hollywood! Back on the main stage, it was announced that this week's winning girl group was Sexy and Stupid, but the winning queen was the luminous Hollywood star, as well it should be. Here's the Hollywood star, and being the first queen this season to win 2 challenges, seriously. Landing in the bottom were Fab International, but thankfully for Floor, it was Bumpa and Nips that would be lip-syncing. Bumpa and Nips. They should go on tour! This was a bittersweet lip-sync, to say the least. Although Bumpa isn't Ashley's drag mom, she did give Ashley her first gig, so there's history there. The queens had to lip-sync to Katy Perry's Hot and Cold. I have to admit that off the top, I was worried for Nips Madison. There she was in a strapless number lip-syncing again. Was it going to be Nipplegate all over again? No. Nips had learned her lesson and thrown a couple of pasties on those puppies. Here's to Nips. Seriously. As for the lip sync, I thought they both did well. There were no tricks or stunts, just good old dyed-in-the-drag queen lip syncing. I thought they both were fun, but when the music died, Ru felt it was Bumpa who shantaed, and sadly, it was Nips who sashayed away. Hell, at least she won Snatch Game. Here's to Ashley Madison. Seriously, you did well, Ashley. Be proud. Seriously. What do you think? Did the right queen go home? Did Bumpa dodge a bullet? Will Floor ever win a challenge? All we can do is tune into Drag Race Down Under next week to see how it all turns out. And then, when you're done, you all come back and you see me so you and I can compare notes. Now, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. These are by far the best 2 ways to support the Fingerdoo review. But if you'd like to support the channel even more, there are links to becoming a Tipperdoo, joining the Fingerdoo family on Patreon, or getting your own Wilma merch from my Redbubble store, all in the description box down below. Plus, don't forget that YouTube thanks button, which is just at the bottom of this screen. Until next time, miss me! Mwah! Seriously. Aw, Nips. So sorry that she went home. I thought after winning Snatch Game, I thought, oh, we're gonna watch a queen turn it around, and I think she was in the middle of the turnaround, but I feel badly. I hope that Ashley Madison can feel proudly for what she did on the show, because I think she did a good job. That yes, that first thing was a bit of an embarrassment, but I only think that the whole Nipplegate thing was embarrassing because she kind of came into the workroom thinking she was all that, and immediately she got the smackdown. And I hope that she realizes that smackdown was the best thing she could have got at that point in her life. I think it's going to make her a better queen, and I think when we see her on All Stars, which we will, I think that she is going to impress us all even more. Or fail terribly. I don't know her.